Bone apple teeth, my guy. Let's do it. Oh, God.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Kubi Darson, and this is Mapso Juice. We've been gone for a minute, but it's time to get back on the run with things. And today I'm here with my great friend, my sister right here, Phoebe Joseph. You guys may know her as Pojo. How are you doing today?
Oh my God, great. Now that you guys are here, I'm so happy.
Yeah, I'm
Mapso
so
Juice
hyped
is
to be
back.
here. Yes,
we
we're
need
back.
this.
Yes,
we need
yes,
this, man.
yes. So I feel like this collab is long overdue.
Oh my
like
God.
we've been trying to do something for a while
I'm
now.
always trying to bring you into the platform,
Yeah, for
YouTuber,
sure.
so I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
it's
And
an
cross
honor.
collab.
Yeah.
So I want to get into things right away.
Mm-hmm.
So for those that don't know, Phoebe, she's been in the modeling industry since she was very young. How did you even get into modeling?
Yeah, so when I was 11, crazy, I was at a publishing company in New York, and I got recruited during lunch by a Teen Vogue rep. And I was with a family friend, and I freaked out because they're like, "Are you a model?" I'm an 11-year-old, like scrawny bean, like no. So yeah, they wanted me to get signed so they can book me. And then when I was 13, my parents let me get signed, and the rest was history. But my first job was Teen Vogue, and it was a very bizarre first job to have in 8th grade, like crazy stuff.
Yeah, so like you said, you were really young. Did that change how you grew up in any way?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, it definitely changed how I was treated, for one. Like, people treated me really well going into high school, which can't complain about, but it definitely, makes you think about how, privileged you are in an upbringing. I'm really lucky my parents let me just grow up in that industry. And, from a young age, I was in New York, like, traveling alone and doing stuff, and I wouldn't have the friends I have. I wouldn't have like my network. I wouldn't have my friends here even, probably, because it completely has molded my friendships. But I'm very grateful for that. It allowed me to grow into a different path that I probably wouldn't have pursued if it wasn't for that exposure.
Yeah. Well, was there anything that you learned about yourself through your modeling experiences
Oh my
that
God.
you didn't know before?
Totally. I didn't realize how insecure I was before modeling. And that industry would really pull it out of you. But I also didn't realize how independent I could be. I think I always depended on other people's validation, and it took me doing something that nobody validated in my life, and nobody really understood. Like, I was the only person doing this for myself. Even with agents, even with a network of people that support you, it's hard to say like the team is your team sometimes when it's money on the table. So yeah, I definitely learned how I really do drive my life, and I can do whatever I want to do. It definitely brought me into this arena of Models That Eat, and I'm completely doing something out of the box that I never thought I'd be the person to initiate. Like, it didn't feel like it was like me, but I learned a lot.
So I'm curious, and I'm pretty sure some of our audience may be too. What was your most crazy modeling experience? What would you say? You probably have a ton to pick up. Yeah.
I have some favorites. Well, one that ties to CHS was, and this is a story I love to tell, when I was doing Fashion Week. It was my first Fashion Week in New York. Fashion Week is actually Fashion Month, for those that don't know. It's a very stressful month for most models and people in fashion. It is overwhelming. I was at a football game at Underhill, and my agent called me at like 10 p.m. and he was like, "Yo, Kanye needs a fit model for Yeezy tonight. You have to go to the city." I had a show the next morning at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So I did fit from like 11 p.m. for him to 5 a.m. And it was like me, Kanye, and like 3 other models. And it was very bizarre. This is like before like all the like Kanye tea, and so it was like a really big deal, and like it was so cool to be in a space of people that respect you and like don't know you at all, but like you feel like a part of a vision that's bigger. And especially in that scene, it was like a huge deal. So yeah, that was like my one like culture moment that I was like, yes, like, we're out here. So
that's amazing.
It was really fun. Yeah. I walked around with Migos once.
Hey, that
was crazy, because I was like,
Migos.
yo, it was hella loud in the room, and I was like, damn, it's really loud in here. And then I turned around, it's Migos. I was like, hey, it was perfect.
So you mentioned Models That Eat. For those that don't know, Models That Eat is Phoebe's YouTube channel. What role did your modeling career play into your creation of your YouTube channel?
Yeah, so Models That Eat started kind of as it was an Instagram account, really. Like, I was just posting food photos with my friends, and it kind of opened a bigger dialogue around like body image and eating disorders and food and fashion and like how all those things correlate in people's careers. And I got really interested because I kind of was brought up with a team that really supported me in a lot of ways that I never was pre-exposed to that. My family never, I never had worries about food pretty much. Like I never had to think about that relationship. So when I started realizing that I had friends even that were struggling with that stuff, it really made me question the industry I was in. And I think the fashion industry in general is such a space for change, and because we're so stubborn, we don't want to change it. It's like it's a place from glamorizing this career for so long that we feel like we need to make it exclusive, and it dehumanizes everyone in the process. Like every model that's included, they feel like their voice is stripped. So I really wanted to create a space where people felt like safe to talk and looked at it as good exposure, good PR. Like that's important stuff. And if brands start to see that as well, like this platform is that's everything.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Yeah, so far, how's it been going for you?
Amazing. As soon as I started it, the feedback is what fueled me. And it's something to this day that pushes me all the time. I sometimes forget the power in this messaging and like how much people need this outlet to speak up, and people need a safe space. Like a lot of models would probably never talk about this if it wasn't for the editing process that I do. Like I'm very passionate about not overexposing or not, exploiting people, because a lot of most cases, people want to use these clickbait terms and brand names and, name dropping in order to expose people in a cancel culture that is just like not productive. And the point is to like humanize people. It's not to like cancel huge multi-million-dollar companies that couldn't care less. So I think girls feel safer when I'm the middleman in a way.
Yeah.
Because then if their agency gets mad or if a client doesn't like it, it's not their problem, it's mine. Like I can be that person, and I'm happy to be that person. I'm like sick and tired of people trying to complain about people telling the truth. It's annoying. So yeah, I think it's been great. It grew into just creative endeavors in general. It's made me really appreciate food a lot more. It's made me want to explore nutrition and like culinary school and things that I never really thought I'd dive into, but the platform has inspired me. And it brought me to Japan and, doing collaborations with amazing artists that like have a like-minded, they're very like similar mindset to me. So I love that.
Yeah, well, if you guys didn't notice yet, Phoebe is filled with love. So go subscribe to Models That Eat. Like you're bugging if you haven't subscribed yet. So I'll give you this excuse if you didn't know one time. Now you guys know there's no excuse. Go subscribe. Stop playing. All the links will be there. So you said Models That Eat brought you to Japan. How?
This is an amazing story. I'm recovering from this. This is like, I'm blown away sometimes by how the universe works out, and I think we really do bring things into our lives, but this trip was incredible. So what happened was last summer I was in Soho, as one is, and I was looking at magazines in this bookstore. I found this insane zine called Food on a Photograph. And as soon as I saw it, I'd always thought about what media for Models That Eat looked like in a tangible form. Like, what would a magazine look like? What would, media that we're creating as models look like that is Models That Eat inspired? And this zine just like blew me away. It was photos of Audrey Hepburn, food styled over, and it was amazing, like parallel recipes to each photo. And I was like, who did this? I'm obsessed. I found this girl, her name's Kaoru Mitsui. Kaoru, love your work, you're crazy. And she is incredible. So I impulsively like emailed her and I was like, I'm obsessed with your work. Like, we need to hang out if you're ever in New York. She ended up being in New York. We got food, and I knew off the bat like we were gonna do something, and just like that gut feeling. And I needed to work with her in order to like communicate this message. And I just loved the way she looked at food. It was the way that I wish so many models could. I knew a lot of models did, but their followers didn't know that, and like a lot of girls needed to see that. Girls, guys, non-binary, everyone needed to see that because there's so much stigma around food, especially in our industry. So we started talking, we like both clicked, and we decided we were gonna try to work on something together. We didn't know how, we didn't know when. And then the amazing team at Animag, they're a wonderful travel magazine in Japan. They loved our project. They wanted to give us a gallery. They wanted to give us space in their magazine.
Hey.
And they wanted to give us our own zine. It was like, it was literally, I couldn't ask for anything more. So it spiraled into this amazing project that started in Japan, which is so cool to think that it started with me here writing an email and it ended in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And everything being taken care of, and just having like such an amazing support system across the globe that gets the messaging. Like to be in Japan and not speak the language and people understand like what we're trying to do and loving it and calling it kawaii. Like all I want to be called is kawaii. Like that's sick.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing.
It was amazing. Best country.
So what were the highlights of your trip?
Oh man, that gallery in general just like opened my eyes to like what communicating in other spaces looks like, and I had a translator for a majority of the days there, so she really helped me when it came to interviews and, you know, talking to people. I met several people that found me from my platform in the States that like had been waiting for the project to drop. I was like, I'd never thought I have a network in Japan. That's amazing. We had amazing designers. I met people that I shot with in the States that like live in Japan. I didn't even know they were there. I met people that were fans of all my friends. The whole entire gallery was just models that I've worked with over the years with the channel, and it was just incredible. It felt like all of my friends in Japan were with me, and I loved how people brought us like food as like gifts. People would bring like amazing snacks and stuff, and I was like, this is crazy. Like it comes full circle, you know, like they bless you in the way that you like, in the things you appreciate. Someone brought me a bouquet of flowers, and they curated the flowers based off of a video of me dancing on Instagram. Like they showed it to the florist, and then the florist made flowers based off what they thought my personality was in that video. And I thought that was hilarious. Yeah. It just shows the internet is this amazing platform, and like I think we all get very self-conscious with it, but when we detach from like what that concept is and just create, you literally, it'll take you wherever you want to go. I've always wanted to go to Japan, and I got to do it with like my closest friends that I never thought I'd make in 6 months. Like this was a 6-month thing. Like I could never imagine that happening. So
that's so dope. So back to Models That Eat, your YouTube channel. What was the inspiration behind the mukbang and chill? And for those who don't know, could you explain what the mukbang and chill is?
So mukbang and chill, mukbang or mukbang, whatever, however you pronounce it. It was like an Asian video format that started out there. It was like a counterculture with food. People would eat and live stream, and it was such a multifaceted thing. I loved the concept, just eating on camera. It provokes so much emotion for people. People either get freaked out, they want to eat with you, or they're just fascinated, or it makes them question their own eating habits, because you're watching people eat these huge quantities of food that like can really make you, it can spark a conversation like with your diet. So I just loved that. I thought food was always the basis of like a safe space for this platform, and like I wanted to keep that up. And yeah, lo and behold, we have a couch, we have food, and like that's mukbang and chill. It makes sense, and you know, you get to chill with your friends and talk, and I think it really helps people build a healthier bond with food, because it really does create a safe space, and we don't even have to do anything. It just does. Look at dinner tables across the country. Look at, I don't know, street food. Like all these things that are based off of that safeness. It's great.
Food really brings people together.
Absolutely. Too. It brings me with everybody. I'm always like, let's go get food. Ani ramen. Let's go.
So any plans for Models That Eat? Can we get in, you know, the exclusive?
We do have some plans. We're definitely going to bring Food on a Model. That was the exhibit in Japan to New York. We're working on that right now, which is exciting, and expanding that. Definitely getting the channel back popping. I took a long break. I was at a creative agency for like 6 months, so now I'm going to finally have my full-time gig doing that, and hopefully more education behind it. I want to go to school for nutrition and study fitness, and hopefully dive into the industry a bit more with ethics, and explore that. So a lot of changes, but I'm excited. More faces on the channel too. Really trying to like spread out. People in LA, everywhere.
That's what's up. I'm excited for you.
Thanks, Coos.
Well, you know we're gonna tune in. All of our followers, I'm praying and begging you guys to tune in, because Models That Eat is where it's at. All the links to her channel, Phoebe's Instagram, anything that involves Phoebe or Models That Eat, you'll be able to find through us. Pojo, thank you so much for doing this.
You're the best.
You already know.
Go watch our old video too. We got one from like 2017. That's crazy.
Dropping gems.
He's the OG. He's the OG. One of the first videos. All right, Mapso Juice, love you.
Thank you so much. Mapso Juice, this is just the first of many. We got more coming. I'm Kubi Darson.
Pojo Jojo.
You already know. And you guys got the juice.